For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, we are live and amplified. So let's get ready to podcast.
Fire it up.
Welcome, everybody, to another live and amplified livecast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we are back at it again with another amazing podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Juliana Hale. How's it going today?
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. It's a little chilly, but not as cold as it is there in Nashville with all the snow and fun that you guys have been having.
Yes.
How did you like having the snow? Was it?
I don't like the cold. So it's pretty from, when I'm inside looking at it, but I'm from Southern California. So I prefer the roads nice and clear and the weather warm and sunny. So it was, it's beautiful, but yeah, I definitely like the sun better.
Yeah, I completely understood. The snow is cool, but if you don't know how to drive in it or how to do any of that stuff, then it's pretty dangerous. So
yes, I'm very lucky. I have a car with 4-wheel drive, so I was safe at least.
Nice. Awesome. Well, first off, I want to thank you so much for jumping on and chatting with me a little bit. I know we were supposed to talk Tuesday, I think it was, or
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday. We were supposed to originally talk Tuesday, but luckily we were able to get it rescheduled pretty quickly, and here we are. So I'm excited to sit down and chat with you a little bit.
Thank you for having me.
So for anybody that's just getting to know you for the first time or meeting you for the first time, what's kind of your introduction into music? What's your background story, like your comic book origin story, number one?
Okay, I got you. Well, I'm originally from Southern California, and I started writing songs when I was about 9 years old, and I wanted to do country at the time. So I moved to Nashville with my family and began playing around town when I was 10 or so. And so when I was about the last few years, I started working on pop music instead, which is what I'm really passionate about. So for the last few years, I've gotten to play a lot of really awesome shows and work with some great people. So that's kind of my music story. And I've had some interesting medical issues, so I had to relearn how to sing. So I've gone through it for sure in the industry.
Gotcha. And you moved to Nashville when you were young, or how long have you been in Nashville?
Yeah, when I was 10. So I've been in Nashville since 2010. So yeah, 12 years.
Gotcha. And how obviously Nashville has changed in the last 12 years. It's changed in the last 2 years since the last time I've been there. So
yeah.
Just kind of watching it grow has got to be pretty insane, at least on your end.
It definitely is. The skyline's completely different. I just remember when I moved from Southern California, I was excited about less traffic, and now we're not as bad as LA still, but the traffic is getting worse every single day. So that's interesting, but it's also really good to see the city grow. That's always good.
Yeah, for sure. So as a young child, as you started writing started taking an interest into music, who was the first person to kind of introduce you to music or the idea of writing and playing music?
Like first person in my life or first artist?
We'll get to the first artist, but the first person in your life.
Okay, well, my parents gave me a guitar when I was 5 because my brother, he's super, super musical. He's so talented. He plays every instrument. And so, yeah, when I got the guitar, I went to him. So I was 5 and I wanted to learn, and he charged me because he was my older brother. And I eventually ran out of quarters. And if I was doing badly, he could just end the lesson whenever. So I didn't end up learning guitar when I was 5, but I ended up picking it up later on once I realized that I could get an actual instructor that wasn't my brother stealing my money. Love him. But so then I started writing songs, and I realized I could write songs. For some reason I had this, I don't know, it just seemed like when you're a child, you don't really know a lot of things. So I didn't know that you could write songs as a profession. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until actually Taylor Swift came into the game that I realized, oh, you could write songs. And I was always very creative. I was always writing stories during play at the playground during recess. I would just sit there with a notebook. So it kind of was a natural progression. So once I found out that I could combine writing and music, it was done so for me.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So you brought up your brother charging you a quarter or whatever it was
Yeah.
to give you lessons, which sounds like a very big brother move.
It is.
So smart. I wish I would have thought of it as a kid, but uh, and then so after you kind of went through all that, you found an actual instructor. Was Taylor Swift like the first artist that kind of spoke to you in a different way, or who was that first artist, musician?
I would say so. It's odd. It's split between Taylor Swift and My Chemical Romance, because at the time my sister was obsessed with my MCR, My Chemical Romance, and I mean I love them as well. But I was very much a Swiftie when she first came out when I was a kid. So okay, sorry, I have a puppy and he's eating things he shouldn't be.
Oh, good.
So we're going to hold him. But yeah, so Taylor Swift really introduced me into it. I just loved her storytelling. And to this day, I don't really care if people don't like her voice or anything. She's a great songwriter. And that's what I've always really looked up to her about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I remember when I was in, let's see, Taylor Swift started making a name for herself, like 2005, 6, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was a great freshman in college. Yeah, that's what it was. Freshman in college. Yeah. I would start seeing people with like the Taylor Swift t-shirts, like old school homemade t-shirts. And I was like, who's this Taylor Swift person? I've never heard of her. And then of course, obviously she'd go on to become who she is. And it's like, oh, that's kind of funny. And
yeah, so it's funny now because I live in Hendersonville in Tennessee, which is near Nashville, and that's where she grew up. So I had the same Latin teacher that she had, and he's kind of the spunky older guy. And once he had me in his class too, he was convinced. He was like, I'm teaching new musicians and artists. Like he was so excited to have an artist in his class again. Nice. And so he was always so excited about her.
Nice. So kind of moving forward, you've been busy releasing music. You just released a new single last month, Dollhouse?
It was November.
Okay, the music video was the last month then. That's
yes,
what it was.
Yes.
Okay. So you got a new single out, Dollhouse. What's kind of the story behind that?
The Dollhouse is like, I had the hook for a while, and it's just meant to be like a women empowerment anthem. It's really about being around people who, aren't around you for the right reasons. Like objectifying you or just kind of fake, like they want to be hanging out with you because either you look physically a certain way or you've achieved something of some sort. It was inspired by actually somebody in particular who would always just want to like talk about people's numbers. And I just thought that was a very odd way to live your life. So that's what I wrote it about. And Wanda ended up coming on through Derek Minor, who produced it, and he knew her. And I felt like she was perfect because I feel like empowerment is also really what she focuses on. She's mainly a Christian hip hop artist, but I feel like her style really transcends like all genres, and it's just really great music. So I was so excited when I got her verse because I felt like she really got it and added so much to the song.
Gotcha. And is it you kind of stay in that realm of pop music that's a little bit more on the hip hop side of things, or was this kind of a different feel for you? It's been
an experimentation. Yeah. So with Chill, it was kind of like an R&B hip hop. My first single from last year, it was inspired by like Anderson .Paak and Mac Miller. And so once I did that, I really wanted to keep exploring the genre because I love hip hop. And so that's where Crazy came about with Derek. And after Crazy, I wanted to continue down that path. So that's kind of where Dollhouse came from. Yeah. But I wouldn't say it's the end all like direction for my project because my next single, Hold Me, is very like lo-fi indie pop. And I also have some pop rock kind of in the realm coming out maybe because I also love rock and I feel like I love all these genres. So I really am trying to explore them all myself. I've done like EDM collaborations and I just kind of feel like it's not necessarily bad to kind of dip your toe into some different styles.
Cool. And kind of going back to Dollhouse a little bit, how long had you been working on that song?
I wrote the hook. I had just the hook like a cappella for probably a year before I went to Derek and I sang for that. And so we worked on our verse. It took a while to come together because then I had to find the right feature. So I probably worked on it a total of about 2 years as far as like the origin of the idea. I didn't work on it for like a year between basically having the idea and recording it. So probably 2 years.
Okay. Gotcha. So it was definitely something that was in progress prior to the pandemic.
Oh yeah, it was.
Cool. And is that usually the length of time it takes you to work on music, or are you usually a little bit more quicker with the turnaround, if that makes any sense?
It makes sense. It differs from song to song. Like that one, I just have a lot of ideas all the time. Like I have hundreds of ideas sitting in my master writer, which is a program I use. And so, sometimes the idea comes out quicker. Like sometimes I'll have the idea 2 days before a session, and then we produce it all out and it's done like in a couple days, and that's fine. So it just kind of differs from song to song.
Gotcha.
I hadn't found the right producer for Dollhouse, I felt like. So that one took a while just because I was looking for somebody who, like, I love Derek's production. It's very bass heavy, and that's what I was looking for.
Gotcha. It's like you knew what the next question was going to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Sorry.
No, it's all good. So obviously Dollhouse, Crazy, and Chill are a complete difference than the like original Taylor Swift and wanting to be a country artist like you had mentioned previously. What was kind of that turning point where it was like, okay, maybe not so much country? And
well, so it was country when I was much younger, and I think once I got into high school, I realized I don't really listen to country anymore. This dog is a menace right now. And so I slowly started going into more like Americana singer-songwriter. And because I was also playing a lot of bars and kind of like playing those 4-hour shows at restaurants where it's just you and a guitar playing covers. So I felt like that really naturally led me into that Americana kind of bend, because I was covering like Hozier, Ed Sheeran, and all that. And once I got out of high school, I went on my first tour. And I just remember on that tour, I got connected with some people and started working more electronically with producers, not just me and my guitar, and started getting into more music and expanding. And so it just slowly kind of shifted. And I was like, wow, I really want to do pop. I fell in love with EDM and hip hop and everything. And I was like, oh, I want to start exploring that vein. So I really love like the years I spent making Americana music, because I feel like country and indie focuses a lot on songwriting. So I kind of want to take that storytelling with these modern electronic kind of sensible beats while still incorporating instruments. I'm trying to like blend it all together into some coherent image. That's what I'm trying to create.
Something that's authentically who you are as a musician and as a human. I 100% get that and understand. So as you're kind of going through that journey of being as you're kind of going through that journey of figuring out the mixture, we'll call it, who are some of the musicians you're listening to now for influence?
Well, I'd say Halsey was pretty big influence for me, especially when I first started in the pop realm. So I love listening to her. I still listen to a lot of Mac Miller, rest in peace. I've been listening to, I feel like when someone asks me this question, it takes me a second. Been listening to a lot of SZA. I love her so much. Like I just love her. She tells stories too, but in a very like R&B groovy way. Doja Cat for sure recently. I still love Hozier. He's great. And Brent Fayez, I hope I said that right. I've been listening to a lot of him recently too.
Gotcha. Your dog is like coughing or something right into them.
He is sick. I know. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
He's got a little respiratory thing.
Oh, it's all good.
So, oh my goodness, baby. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. So, okay, that's awesome. And then you got a new single that's getting ready to come out the end of the month. It is called Hold Me. What's kind of the story behind that song?
So Hold Me is like a chill, I call it like a chilling with your bae song, because I felt like, so I wrote that one in quarantine, and that one came together really quickly, actually, like one day in the studio. But I felt like everybody, well, talking from personal experience during quarantine, was like hanging out with, either like your friends, your family, or in my case, my boyfriend and I lived together. So we spent a lot of time together, just, around the house. So it's kind of just like it's like a chilling with your bae song, but it's also touches on like the fear of falling in love at the same time. So that's why the hook is like hold me together or let me fall apart in your arms. So it's kind of like a trust fall kind of thing.
Gotcha. And how long ago, or how long has it been recorded, or kind of sitting in the pipes, I guess is the best way to word it?
A little less than a year.
Okay.
I wanted to release it around Valentine's Day, honestly.
So how much did COVID kind of affect the release strategy? Did you originally want to release it last year, or?
I kind of wanted to release it last year, but I also was really liking the kind of hip hop wave we were going on. So I felt like this was the right time. COVID's definitely affected a lot of release strategies just because things have shifted from, trying to plan shows around a release and kind of events into now like TikTok is the marketing plan. So it's definitely been a learning curve for all my singles have been affected.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out the magic behind TikTok, because there certainly is a magic behind it, but
there is.
I don't know.
Right there with you.
I just don't know if it's one of those things where I don't have the personality for it or the whatever, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
I'm with you. I don't know. It's algorithmic. And then people like to see what it's like, what's popular is what yours needs to look like, but it's like, I don't know. I'm with you.
Yeah. So for Hold Me, are you going to be doing another music video, kind of like what you did for Dollhouse, or is it, what's kind of the thought there?
So Dollhouse, that music video was like a dance music video because I partnered with a dance collective. And so that was really cool. But for Hold Me, I do want to do a video. I will be talking to someone about that tonight. Actually, I have plans for it to be kind of like a funny parody-ish kind of video. So I'm excited. So we haven't shot it yet, but I kind of want to, like, instead of having it be me and like an actual guy, I have this cute little puppy and I have lots of cats. So I might be doing something a little bit more with like a parody with me and my dogs hanging out, basically. Nice. So that's what's to come. That's what's in the works.
Awesome. I'm really excited to see that. And, just can't wait for this single to release. Right before you jumped on, I pre-saved it on my Spotify playlist. So I'm really excited to hear it.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very excited. There is an acoustic video as well.
Okay. Is that going to be released the same day as the single drops, or?
I think it'll be released like a week or so later.
Okay. I
need to plan that. It was recently aired on Today in Nashville on WSMV 4.
Okay, cool. How's and do you do a lot of, like, I mean, I've kind of noticed through your YouTube page that you've got some acoustic videos. Is this something that you do for all your videos or all your releases, or is it just kind of more selective to what would work best?
It's something I want to do for all my releases because I really love the take that you get when it's just you and a guitar kind of thing. So I love that stripped back feel. I love watching acoustic videos from other artists. So it's definitely something I aim to have. I haven't done it for Dollhouse yet, but I actually still want to, even though it's a little late in the game, even if it's just me and a phone doing it, I'm still got that in plans.
Yeah. I mean, it's never too late. Like, I mean, as long as the song is still the most recent single, and like, because the acoustic stuff, especially with the song like Dollhouse, if you come out acoustically, it's going to be such a different feel.
Yeah.
Not that it's a different song, but it's just going to be a completely different feel. So it's never too late, I don't think.
Well, cool. I'm glad.
So it's that's really awesome. I can't wait to see all that coming out. And then as far as kind of moving forward, are you looking at the idea of just staying with singles, or do you see yourself doing like a full full LP or an EP, or what's kind of the thought there?
I've been sticking to just singles, but I definitely want to put them together in an EP with maybe an unreleased song, including like a stripped version of one of the songs. So I definitely want to. It just hasn't felt like the right time yet. So I'm currently sticking to singles, but maybe an EP later in the year or even early next year. I know that's like a while away, but time will fly. Yep,
it really will. And I think playing into that whole realm, it kind of depends on what your live shows look like. If you've got a bunch of live shows and you're going on this big grand tour, maybe an EP and LP wouldn't be the worst idea, because you're essentially playing in front of a new audience every night. Whereas if you're kind of staying locally in Nashville and it's the same, not the same audience, but the same basic audience, singles seem to kind of be the realm. Or if you're not playing as frequently, you know, there's a whole thought process that goes into it.
Yeah, that's very true. It's a good thought. Because right now I'm not on tour heavily, but I do have a couple dates on the book. So it's like a in between. I'm playing shows, but not like, 300 days a year.
When there isn't a global pandemic going on, how often are you out playing shows? How often do you like to be out playing?
Well, so in 2019, really as like often as I can be, I would like to be as busy as possible. So in 2019, I did a pretty heavy like festival circuit, which was great. And a couple tours, shorter tours that year. So I would love to be on the road as much as I can. But right now it's definitely difficult. Like some shows I've had have recently been rescheduled because of COVID or canceled. So I feel like people aren't really booking tours as much because it can get pretty messy with all these regulations and the panini that's going on.
Yep. I 100% get you. I know exactly where you're coming from on that one. So you brought up that you do a lot of festivals and stuff. What are some of the I know I've seen you on the South by Southwest bill. At least I remember seeing you.
Yeah. I played South by. Yeah, I've done Common Ground, which is in Michigan twice. And it's my favorite festival. The first year I did it, I actually got to close out the festival after Halsey, which I was like, are you guys sure? But that was awesome. And I've also done Freaky Deaky, South by Southwest, Ubby Dubby. Some of these have funny names. Yeah. Breakaway Music
Ubby Dubby, that's here in Ubby Dubby's
Texas.
In Texas. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, I went this year. This year or last year. Wow, it's 2021. And that was great, except for it rained the first day and I was in a tent. So I decided to go tent camping. I thought it'd be fun, but it was still great. I've done quite a handful. So Breakaway, Numbers Fest. I feel like I'm forgetting some. Daytona Bike Week. I've done a lot of bike rallies, surprisingly.
Yeah. Daytona Bike Week is crazy. The first time I ever went to Daytona was during spring break when I was in college. And our spring break was like our first day was the second or third to last day of Bike Week.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, oh, what is all that? Like this was back in 2008 or so. But it was rough.
Bike Week is definitely crazy. Yeah. I got to open for Snoop Dogg in Oklahoma last year on the 4th of July. And that was kind of like a one-day festival because they had a bunch of vendors and everything. It was outside. It was really cool.
Nice. So will you camp again at a music festival?
I might, but if I have another option, I would definitely go for that just because it was an adventure. Like the generator went out and we were on the last row of like the employee parking. And so nobody like wanted to fix it. Yeah. Luckily my neighbor went and got a generator, but for a little bit we were out of power and it was Texas. It was hot. Yep. So it was an adventure all the way. The toilets were so far away. So there were some situations.
Oh yeah.
It was an interesting time.
In 2016, I think it was, we did media for a music festival up in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And they asked us, oh, will you want a camping pass or will you go stay at a hotel like some of the other media? And it's like, well, at this point we're all just like flat broke. And so it's like, well, if camping's free, we're going to go camp.
Yeah.
And so we were there for 3 days. It was 100% vegan festival, but nobody on my team is vegan. And so it was just like, all right, we're trying to pretend like we're vegan so we don't get ran out of this thing. And
oh my goodness.
It was up in Santa Fe, New Mexico in like October, which it was really cold. It got so bad a couple nights that I slept in the car instead of in the tent. And I was just like, I'm going to the car. And then 3 a.m. I hear a knock on my door and it was the rest of my team like, hey, we're going to sleep in the car too. It's too cold out here. I'm like, so
probably for the best.
Yeah, for sure. So What is the release date of Hold Me again?
January 28th.
Okay. And that's that then a week later the acoustic video will come out for that, roughly.
Yes, more than likely. Yeah, roughly.
Gotcha. And then just kind of outside of music, just to kind of turn things away from music for a minute. What are some of the things that you like to do when it's I need some alone time, or I need to like decompress, or whatever it is?
I would say I have a lot of animals, like hanging out with my animals and just like watching TV is good. Like all of them will join me on the couch. I have 3 cats and a dog and a gecko and a snake and stuff. So we'll hang. Otherwise, like doing yoga. I also paint as well, which sometimes is work because I'll do commission paintings or I'll sell them. But it's really fun. And yeah, I think those are my mains.
Nice. No late night Netflix binges, or is that
no, I for sure be doing that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I actually just finished binging the new Dexter season and then Mindhunter on Netflix as well.
Nice.
So those are both serial killer based, but I like true crime a lot. So
nice. I haven't seen the new Mindhunter. I'm kind of trying to get through the last season of F is for Family. But every time I turn it on, I kind of fall asleep. Not because the show is bad. It's just because I turn it on at 11:30 at night. And it's like, I'm not going to make it through an episode. But
I've only seen a couple episodes of F is for Family. Yeah, but it's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then I'm hoping that the show 1883, which is the sequel to Yellowstone, or prequel, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
It's only on Paramount Plus, but I refuse to pay for Paramount Plus. So
maybe you can rent it on like Amazon or Apple TV. That's what I always do.
Yeah. But so we'll see where that one goes. I got to see the first few episodes and it's like, okay, you guys got me hooked now. So but
yeah, everyone keeps recommending Yellowstone to me. I haven't watched it yet though.
I haven't watched Yellowstone either. I just saw 1883 and it was like, oh, this looks cool. And then I was telling my uncle about it and he was like, yeah, that's Yellowstone, but like a prequel. And I'm like,
okay.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess maybe I need to go watch Yellowstone or something. I don't know. So
well, that's good to know.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't want to keep you too much longer. Kind of the plan moving forward with the releases. You got Hold Me coming out at the end of the month, and then what's kind of the thoughts, the plans, the rough ideas for the rest of the year?
The rest of the year, I'll keep releasing singles. I've got a couple that I'm really excited about that I know I'll definitely be releasing. I don't know the exact order yet, because I just don't yet. Yeah. But I have a song called Down to Earth / Head in the Clouds, and I'm excited about that one. That one might come out later in the year. My pop rock song called Vendetta, I'm really excited about. And I'm working on one right now called Still Tomorrow, which is about feeling like the world is ending. So that's one of my favorite songs I've ever written. So I'm super excited about that one. I have a movie coming out that I'm in probably late February or March. They're still deciding a date, but it'll be on Amazon.
Nice. Can you say what movie, or is it there's still an embargo?
I can. Yeah, I can. It's called And You Call Yourself a Christian. It's adapted from a book. And it's a really powerful story about a woman it's basically like her children like die and she goes to jail and has this whole like religious journey, and it's really like a beautiful story. And I play her prison best friend, basically, named Tiny, and I've got some fake tattoos and all that, and it was really fun to film.
Nice. Is that something that you've done before acting, or is this a whole new experience for you?
It was a whole new experience for me. I've done extra work, so I've been on movie sets, but I've never had lines.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So before we wrap this up, I have a random question generator sitting right here in front of me. So I like to ask people a question off this random question generator. So if you are ready.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm excited.
Okay. Would you rather be the first person to explore a new planet or be the inventor of a drug that cures a deadly disease?
Probably the inventor of a drug.
Okay.
I think that cures a deadly disease.
Any specific reason why? Or
Well, I actually wanted to be a doctor. I turned down like over $500,000 worth of full ride scholarships to teach pre-med. I wanted to be a research gastroenterologist, specifically to develop medications for little known gastric diseases that I happen to have. So I think that's definitely what I would do.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, that was the random question generator. So you never know what you're going to get. But I really do appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with us a little bit. Like I said, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. For anybody that wants to check out your music or anything else that you got going on, where's the best place for them to do that?
So my website is julianahale.com, and that should have all my links. Otherwise, my Instagram is Juliana Hale. My TikTok and Twitter are the Juliana Hale, and then Facebook, Juliana Hale, YouTube, Juliana Hale. Just Google Juliana Hale and you'll find me.
Yep. Awesome. And then you do a live stream every Saturday morning, correct, on Instagram?
I do, yes.
Go ahead and plug that real quick.
Yeah, it's my I Eat Vibes for Breakfast. It was going to be a podcast at first, which I still want it to be, but right now it's a live stream because that's kind of where I'm at the moment. And I just talk about current events. I answer questions, play a song, maybe just talk about music, what's going on in the world. I have guests on sometimes. I've had a therapist on. My sister's a pharmacist. So at the beginning of COVID, I had her on. I've had dancers on, producers, directors, other artists. So that's what my stream is.
Awesome. I remember watching it, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was like right before Christmas, I want to say. Because you wouldn't have had one the last 2 times because it was New Year's Day, Christmas Day, right?
Yeah. So I didn't do that.
Yeah. So it's I remember watching it right before Christmas because I knew we had the podcast coming up. So it's a really cool show, and I can't wait for it to pick back up. Or I didn't catch it yesterday, but
I also didn't do it yesterday, so I will be picking it back up on Saturday.
Awesome. I can't wait to check that out, and hope everybody that's listening will check that out as well.
Thank you.
But once again,
thank you so much for having me.
Yep, absolutely. And once again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you all later.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Cool. We're good.